Rumpel Furniture entry.
The number 28 car of Davey Allison has decided to visit pit road for an unscheduled stop. Here's a guy who is trying to turn his season around. He's finished second and third here the last 2 years. However, is in for an early stop. Dick Berggren is in the vicinity. Dick?
Well, Bob, all they're doing is changing right side tires, and Jerry Punch is right. It's unlikely a tire cut down, so it's more likely than not that either they've had a tire equalizer, they simply didn't like the setup. Now, all the practice and qualifying that was done here for this event was done under cloudy, overcast, drizzle skies, and the racetrack we see today is being run under sunny skies. We've got a very different situation for the cars, and a lot of guys were taking guesses as to what the setup should be.
Well, Davey Allison goes a lap down because of that unscheduled stop, and you are right, Dick. The weatherman has been predicting just terrible weather all weekend. We were able to get in the Busch Grand National race yesterday, won by Harry Gant, and we woke up this morning with some fog, but it is beautiful right now. And here's the number 42 car of Kyle Petty trying to fend off the challenge of Dale Earnhardt in number 3. Kyle, of course, the winner with radial tires at Rockingham a few weeks ago, and now Dale Earnhardt goes to the high side of the racetrack in an effort to get by that number 42 car, and here comes the number 5 car of Ricky Rudd.
Dale Earnhardt just passed Ricky Rudd just a couple of laps ago, gained another spot. And Ned and I talked about this guy at the beginning of the show. He might have qualified 15th, but you certainly do not count him out. Look, on the inside, is he going to hold?
Wow, you're not supposed to pass right there.
And here comes Rudd falling in right behind. Oh, and Earnhardt and Petty touch, and Petty spins. Rudd got on the brakes and almost avoided, but couldn't.
Here's Alan Kulwicki spinning in there, and once you go into that turn and trouble gets in front of you, there's nowhere to go. You lock the brakes, try your best to get through there, and sometimes you just don't.
Well, if there's no other damage to Ricky Rudd's car, he's probably missing the floorboard because he had his foot all the way through it trying to get stopped.
And look, Kyle Petty, it does look like a lot of damage to Kyle Petty's car.
Yeah, I think he can fix that.
Okay, let's take a look at it once again.
All right, here's Earnhardt coming off of turn 4, gets on the inside of Kyle Petty. Here's Ricky Rudd in the yellow car coming up behind as they come off of the turn. Go down the front straightaway. Everything looks okay as they start down into turn 1. Rudd drafting right up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt to come across the start-finish line. And then as they go into turn 1, Kyle Petty comes down a little bit too quick, catches Earnhardt in the right rear, and it causes Kyle to lose control. And look at Ricky Rudd, the evasive move that the move of the century, it looks like, follows him right in there, and then all of a sudden he cuts her square left, gets a little piece of it, and then he gets hit from behind, spin him around.
That was Rusty Wallace, yeah. And there's Davey Allison, the other black car, spinning.
Well, let's go to Jerry Punch, who's in the pit of the leader, Geoff Bodine.
Geoff Bodine is getting service from the Budweiser 4. Junior Johnson now putting a little bite in the left rear of the car. Bodine had commented that the car was getting quite loose. Let's check on Dick Berggren down at Earnhardt's pit. Dick? Well, for what I can see, Jerry, the car is just fine. In fact, the crew was unsure that Earnhardt had even touched anybody on the racetrack. They said everything is okay. It's going to be a 4-tire change. Everybody up and down pit road is doing this. They had planned on doing a 4-tire change. Bodine is out, and here goes Earnhardt.
Traffic coming out of the pits.
Ernie Irvan crew made a good pit stop, so he comes out right behind Geoff Bodine.
Crew cam working on Kyle Petty's car. You notice the damage there in the left rear.
That's where he backed in the wall. He hit the wall just a little bit with the left rear. They've got to get that quarter panel out so they can get some fuel in the car and also get the quarter panel away from the tire.
And of course they want to try to do that and not lose a lap. A little further down pit road, they're working on Rusty Wallace's car.
And there is Rusty's car, and Jerry Punch is there.
Barry Dodson and Jimmy Maycar and crew are trying to get some of the sheet metal pulled away. Rusty was trying to get on the brakes up in turn 1, was unable to get the car slowed enough. He tagged the right side of the car against the concrete retaining wall. They have bent some sheet metal in. Rusty's trying to get out to beat the caution car. He just moved back on the racetrack. He will be coming back down pit road here momentarily. They have a lot of work to do in the front of that car. Not only is the right front tire towed in a little bit, there's considerable sheet metal damage in the right front, which they'll have to peel away before they get back to green flag racing. Bob?
So several cars are damaged in an accident on lap number 24 here at the Transouth 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. We'll be back with more of our live coverage after this.
heartbeat of America is in trouble. Jimmy Bryant Hyundai comes to the rescue with consistent low.
We are 1 lap away from the restart of the Transouth 500 following a crash. That's Alan Kulwicki changing tires on the left side. Now they've completed the service on his car, and Kulwicki goes back out onto the racetrack. Let's take a look once again at what happened to cause our second caution of the day.
Well, we see Earnhardt on the inside of Kyle Petty, and Ricky Rudd moves up right on the tail of Earnhardt. Now, Kyle Petty, when he gets down to turn 1, he wants to get back to the bottom of the racetrack where the groove is, and he just cuts it a little bit too close. See, he wanted to get in that gap between Rudd and Dale Earnhardt, unable to make it, just a little bit too close.
Let's go quickly to Jerry Punch in Rusty Wallace's pit.
Where would Jimmy make car? Jimmy, what's the damage assessment on the car?
Right now, other than sheet metal on the right front, it looks like the toe wind's knocked out on the right front. We didn't get a chance to fix it or have to work on the sheet metal, so the right front tire's towed out a little bit. We need to fix it next time we come in.
Gonna have his hands full for a while, Bob, but they're gonna try to run it here for a few laps.
Green flag comes out once again on lap number 26. Mickey Gibbs at number 01 is the leader of the race. Davey Allison gets his lap back. That's the car that is pulled away from everybody else. Meanwhile, here comes Geoff Bodine, Ernie Irvan, Brett Bodine, and others as they pass Mickey Gibbs.
And the 94 car on the inside of Mark Martin takes that position away. Great move by Sterling Marlin. And now Dale Earnhardt goes by Mark Martin. I don't know if Mark has a problem or just can't get the car going because of the traffic.
Benny, don't they say that it takes a lap or two to really get a good solid feel of these radial tires?
Well, that's what I thought until Geoff Bodine, the car 11, qualified on Friday, and it didn't take too long to get him going.
Well, here's a Big A Auto Parts pit stop performance on Ernie Irvan. It took the driver 15 seconds as far as slow down and speed up time. It took the crew 24.4 seconds for a total pit stop of 39.4 seconds for Ernie Irvan and the crew. Still finds himself in second position, right behind Geoff Bodine, and giving him a good run.
Yeah, he's able to stay a little bit closer to Geoff than he was earlier. Meanwhile, in front of those two cars, Davey Allison is up there trying. There we see the black car. That's Davey Allison trying desperately to stay there so he can get a lap back should the caution track.
For the fans that might have just joined us, Davey Allison made an unscheduled pit stop a little bit earlier for right side tires, and that did put him 1 lap down, but he is back in the lead lap if he can stay out there.
Certainly that pit stop performance showed that there was consistency because Ernie Irvan came into the pits in second position, and that's exactly where he is now as the race has been restarted. Now, many of you are having difficulty, and many of you in the 703 and 704 area codes are having trouble getting into that 900 number to register for the Gillette Halfway Challenge. If that's the case, dial this number, 201-343-0021. Again, that's 201 area code 343-0021. For those of you in the 703 and 704 area codes, if you are having a trouble with the 900 number that registers you for that Pontiac Grand Prix and the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. So Geoff Bodine leads Ernie Irvan, the number 42 car of Kyle Petty. There he is, struggling to get back up front after a run-in with Dale Earnhardt in the early going. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who is with the crew chief, Gary Nelson.
Indeed, he is struggling, Bob. Let's check with Gary. Gary, how bad is the car hurt?
Well, the left front suspension took a pretty hard hit. The camber's off and it's towed out. It's not running real bad right now, but definitely not up to full speed. We're going to need kind of a long caution to do some work on it and maybe assess the damage a little more, but I guess the track just gets real narrow going into turn 1.
Now, how long will it take you to fix it? It'll take it 4 or 5, maybe 6 caution laps at least, wouldn't it?
Well, the first thing is to figure out everything that's bent and then hopefully be able to fix it and get the alignment back. You know, normally it takes us a couple hours to align the car in the shop, but if we're fortunate and it's easy to change parts, we can do it in 4 or 5 laps. Then if the caution's out, we should be able to do it without losing a lap.
Well, Kyle may have had a pretty easy ride in Rockingham, but he's going to have his hands full here today.
Well, he definitely has his hands full, but one guy that is charging is the number 3 car, driven by Dale Earnhardt. Started back in 15th position, has passed Brett Bodine, and now runs 3rd, and look at him close in on 1st and 2nd.
Moving up on the hurry. He has a particular route that he runs this racetrack. Let's watch him go into turn 1. He goes in a little bit low.